That is also been done. The water bodies, the Water Resources Commission Act, the Minerals and Mining Act 208, Act 703, the guidelines which emanated from that and all of that, prescribes clearly that mining cannot take place 100 meters away from the bounds of a river body. So that is clear. So it's a lot, and we had a bit of a discussion in the ministry as to whether or not the communique we issued should state that people cannot mine in our river bodies. But it was unnecessary because it's already outlawed. And so where we are, forest reserves and water bodies, the president has declared those red zones. So for government and for the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, forest reserves, water bodies, red zones. And that is why the Ghana Armed Forces are moving in the manner that they are. So I just want to say that there is a lot of clarity now. And the instructions which were given, we gave 7 days ultimatum for all persons engaged in these activities to suspend their activities and evacuate their equipment. So let me repeat that. We don't say suspend the activities alone. You see, having suspended activities, if you have equipment in forest reserves for which you were deploying for the purposes of prospecting, exploration, or reconnaissance, evacuate them. So the deadline is today. At the level of the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, we have put together a monitoring and evaluation team headed by the Honorable Benito, MP from Wabieja, who is the Deputy Minister in my ministry. And that monitoring team is going to come out with a statement this afternoon. We're establishing a situation room. We are putting out telephone lines. Ghanaians can call to report that I live in Apamprama. There's a forest reserve. People are still engaged in prospecting there, or people are mining a forest reserve. The monitoring team will then alert the National Security Architectural Apparatus so they can move in. In addition to that, and in accordance with the highest standards of transparency, I have here in my hand a list of prospecting recognizance licenses within forest reserves, those granted and those pending. And we have 105 of them. You have them, the particulars are name of company, name of forest reserve, location of forest reserve, municipal district, location of forest reserve region, date of forest permit, date of expiry, and all of that. I have instructed both the Minerals and Forestry Commission by close of working day 7th May, Friday, to publish this list. So we all have it. Ghanaians will have it. Publish it, put it out in the public domain. So everybody knows the companies who are holding prospecting or recognizance licenses and those whose applications are pending. So there is abundance of transparency in what we are trying to do. I'd like to conclude on this note. And notice that let all of us appreciate that this is a complex industry. I haven't been Minister for Lands and Natural Resources for too long, but I've been around long enough to come to the firm conclusion that this is a complex industry. I said it at the National Consultative Forum. I want to repeat it. The President's resolve alone will not be enough. My resolve alone will not be enough. The ministers, security minister, that resolve alone will not be enough. It will require a national effort. And again, anybody who has a little understanding of illegal small-scale mining, with all these measures we are putting in place, if in a community, the chief, the local government authority, DC, assembly people, unit committee people, the head of the security people there, this tripod, if these 3 people are not cooperating, all we are doing here will come to naught. So I want to conclude by calling on Ghanaians, by calling on all and sundry chiefs, opinion leaders, political parties, media, and media as well, the way we put the issues out, the way we expose people, the way we stick to the principles. The enforcement begins, and when we are getting a bit hard, before long, some video, and this paper, the soldiers have done that, the police have, that will not help. We have to be resolute on this matter. And I want to reassure the good people of this country on behalf of the president and his government that the commitment of government in this matter, particularly as they relate to water bodies and forest reserves, what we describe as the red zones, is absolutely unflinching and unequivocal. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honorable Ministers, please.
Please. Okay.
Honorable Ministers, grateful for the brief that you have just given us. As the Minister for Defense mentioned, if there are questions that are specific to the operation, we'll take them, and then we will have the relevant security officers join us up on the podium and respond to them. And if there are questions related to the substantive matter, we will also have the Minister and his technical officers respond to them. My understanding is that we're live on Ghana Television, we're live on the Ghana News Agency's Facebook platform, live on Joy News and a number of other television and online platforms, as well as the Ministry of Information's Facebook platform. So, can we get the microphone? So just raise your hand. It will be brought where you are, and then you can ask your question. Yes, Jenny. Please make your question simple and straight to the point.
Thank you. My name is Atamen Sagodo from Ghana News Agency. I have a number of questions. I wonder how many you allow me to
I'll take
ask.
3, sir.
Okay.
I'll take 3. Let's go.
So the first question is, I've heard in the grapevine that 200 people were arrested just within the 3 days of this special operation. I want the team or the Minister of Defense to confirm, because he mentioned 2
So the question is, how many people were arrested?
Yes.
There are rumors that 200.
Yes. So
Can he
want him to
confirm or give a
clarify
number?
it
Let's
for
go
us.
to the next question.
Yes. My next question is, I've seen pictures of some machines being destroyed.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised because in the past, government said especially excavators will be used for the reclamation exercise. And so if the excavators are useful for reclamation, how come they are being destroyed at this time? I want you to explain it for me.
Yes.
And then my third question is, I want to find out how you are going to resource the various district and regional security councils, because the Minister of Lands told us that they will spearhead this exercise. And so if now government is bringing in the military to do this special operation, how is they going to resource the district and then the regional security councils to
keep the sanity that is being brought? Thank you. Yes, sir. GH1, let's take the microphone there.
Thank you very much. My name is Joshua Nana Kwame Ayura. I have 3 questions to ask if I'm allowed.
Nana, please speak up a bit so that we can hear.
So my first question would be the fact that I've worked in, done quite a number of stories from, for instance, Modaso, community next to Dencho Boase, and we've seen miners on the mines mining, and solely the concerns are that they don't have any alternative source of livelihood, because there appears to be a sentimental attachment to some of these lands that they are them off, which we are seeing the Defense Minister has made it clear that anyone that returns to these lands, the state or the government will not take responsibility for whatever that happens. What is government's plan to sustain these lives?
So are there alternative livelihood
Exactly.
plans? Yes. Next
My
question,
second question will be that we've seen a lot put in place to ensure that we overcome this canker. We've employed technology, we have used the military, we have used the Joint Security Task Force, and now there's an intensified operation again, 3 days, and we're seeing it end today. Major question is, what happened initially that we did not win this fight? And if we can be very honest, what happened that we did not see that? And what is going to change this time around with this particular approach?
So what will be different with this approach? That's a substantive question. Okay. Any difference with this approach? Yes, sir. Zako Judgment.
Good morning. I'm Kujajman from City TV. My first question is that I got wind from the small-scale miners that from the red zones declared by the minister, they evacuated 200 excavators. We want clarification for that. And then we have the Minerals Commission, Water Resources, Forestry Commission under the land.
Just some clarity. These are supposed to be 200 excavators
involved
in prospecting
yes,
in the forest
in the
reserve.
forest reserves. Yeah.
Where
Well,
exactly is
they
this?
didn't mention. Okay, Upper Wasa, Konongo, Krobo, and then Juabo areas.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
within the 3-day operation.
Okay.
My second question is that we have the Minerals Commission, Forestry Commission, Water Resources, so many agencies under at the Lands Ministry. Why is the minister setting up a monitoring and evaluation desk? Is it not going to be a multiplicity of work? Thank you.
So is the monitoring desk an additional layer, right? Or is it necessarily just a collaboration of the existent agencies?
Well, I believe the Forestry Commission, Minerals Commission can do these evaluations.
Yes, I understand. I mean, I'm clarifying your question that is it an additional layer you are adding, or you are just asking that they come together and monitor? So I'll let him answer. Go ahead. Are you done, Kojo? Okay, just some clarity. These 200 excavators, just so I understand your question properly, you're saying that you are hearing rumors that the small-scale miners
they were retrieved
evacuated, if I may, just so that I understand you. The small-scale miners themselves evacuated 200 excavators.
No, it's not the small-scale
Would
miners.
you take your time? Let me put it and then you can come back. Is it that the small-scale miners themselves evacuated 200 excavators when they were given the grace period which ends on Friday for prospecting, correct? Or is it that as part of this operation, there are rumors that 200 excavators were
evacuated from Juabo?
When you say evacuated, you mean seized by the military?
This current operation ongoing.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the water bodies?
Along the water body, Juabo, Upper Wasa, Konongo, and then Krobo, and then Apapama Forest
We're
Reserve.
talking about the Pra River.
Well,
But I'll let them respond.
Sure.
But this clarity is important so that somebody doesn't go around saying that excavators were taken from forest reserves. Meanwhile, what we're talking about is an operation on the Pra River. So this clarification is important.
yeah,
So
and
I'll let them
then
clarify.
B to that. The minister also mentioned that he's going to give us a full update of the so-called missing excavators, the one parked around Rollins.
But that's not a subject of today's briefing. Today we are discussing the military operation that's taking place and the fallouts. So Kojo, thank you. I'll take a final one for this round. There's a hand at the back there. Let me take that one before I come this way. No, I'll take this one. Say, I'll come to you. I'll take this one, and then I'll come to you. Is that Mr. Blay?
Yes, Joseph Akable join you.
Go ahead.
It's related to the first question, but a bit more direct. I mean, I just wanted to find out, because the figures he gave, he just said only 2 Chinese nationals have been arrested.
Yeah.
If you match it against the number of equipment that were seized,
Yeah.
is it the case that these individuals who were operating the equipment got wind of the fact that the team were coming in, that's how come they abandoned the equipment? Or
So
if they are
were they
arrested,
abandoned equipment?
Exactly.
Okay.
And secondly, about the decision to destroy them, are we not putting ourselves in a situation where there could be judgment debt issues?
When you are
Perhaps?
mining in a water body which is illegal,
I'm just asking.
you are going to sue that your machine that you are using for illegal mining in the water body has been destroyed and therefore the state should pay compensation for
I'm
it.
asking that because, I mean, in
I
everyday
just want to
sense-
understand.
Yes, that's the question I'm asking.
Okay.
I'm asking because in everyday sense, when you find someone engaged in an activity that is criminal, whatever it is, you don't just destroy whatever the
Very
person is
well.
found with.
Very
Thank
well.
you.
I just wanted clarity, Ms. Blay, don't worry. And then I'll take this final one and I'll get answers.
Yeah, good morning, Honorable Minister.
Yeah.
My first question has to do with, there's a perception that this whole business of illegal mining is being supported by certain political actors and some big wigs or big fishes in the system. Such it makes it very difficult, like you rightly said. It is hydra-headed because it's a cartel. And so it is very difficult to, so if they get somebody in that bracket, how are they going to rule that person? Are they going to, as it were, treat it as close, or they are going to do it decisively? Because if those actors are not properly brought to book, like he said, we are all fighting in vain. Now, my second question, I read a story about Chinese involvement in this whole saga. And the Ghana Immigration Service told us that they come to this country for, how do you call it, a 3 months visit, and then they go out. But I know there's a town in West Region called Chinatown, in I've forgotten the town. that they have settled and they do business and do all kinds of things. So how do the Chinese come in, not only Chinese, the foreign miners come in, how do they live, and how are they monitored to make sure that we see their movement here and there? And my third question.
I'm sorry, the second one I'm a bit confused. Specific to this operation, what's the question?
I'm saying that how do these foreign nationals enter? How long are they going to stay? Who monitors them? Who monitors what they are doing or what they're not doing?
But I don't think that has to do with this specific operation. I'll disallow that question. Let's go to the next one.
Okay. My third question is, Honorable Minister, equipment for these operations coming through the borders. How do you check the arrival of this? Because some come in lockdown forms and then they rearrange and then some of them chamfan and those things. How are we going to check that those things, the importation is blocked so that they cannot come into the country? Thank you.
Okay, so is there any part of this operation that deals with an effort to ensure that machines for this purpose don't come into the Ghanaian jurisdiction? Defense Minister, it says that they are hearing rumors, and I like the way they put it, that they are hearing rumors that 200 people were arrested. You have mentioned 2. Then there are a number of other machines. So the follow-up question from Mr. Blaze is that some people also abandon their machines, etc. So if Defense Intelligence will help us clear that up.
Thank you,
Go ahead, sir.
Honourable Minister. The information that has been put out there is misleading. That is not the case. When the operation, before the operation started, there have been consultations and meetings, stakeholder consultations, and they have been warned of this operation being launched on that specific date. So before the operation was launched, a lot of people have advised themselves. And again, the operation was launched on a Wednesday, and for our information, the people who live on the Pra River have a custom that says that Wednesday they don't go to the river. So at the time of the operation, there was no local there. There were no indigenous. There were only 2 Chinese who were arrested. So that information about arrested 200 Ghanaians is never true. Thank you very much.
So this is Brigadier General Ewansia,
Yes, yes.
Acting Chief of Defense Intelligence. So for those of you who are asking who he is.
So we wanted you to hear from the operators themselves. Only 2 Chinese were arrested, no local, so it's not a true story. Ignore it. The issue of why destroy equipment, there are just 2 questions that will answer. The rest, my brother, they are largely the questions directed to the Minister for Lands. The law already outlaws mining within the river bodies and 100 meters to each of the flanks of the river. If you do any activity there, it's an illegal activity. The President has directed that we'll clean up the river bodies. And like I said, we are not taking any equipment home. We are not seizing any equipment. No equipment to be returned home. It's not like before where you seize equipment, they would all be destroyed on site. It's as simple as that. So there is nothing like we are taking excavators, we are taking battery, nothing will come home. Everything will be destroyed at site. Take your equipment and don't go back again. It's as simple as that. And 2, I did not say that Galamsey areas, you are going to go around destroying and beating up people as, like he said. No, that's not what I said. I said that when the military sweep past a place, don't think
create alternative livelihoods. The license to Achubonyo. He can be said to be involved in lawful small-scale mining. So even the whole licensing regime, reviewing it, reforming it, decentralizing it, is a major part of the whole equation, so that people can be involved a lot more in legitimate small-scale mining. The final question, I believe, the monitoring and evaluation desk at the ministry. Whatever we put in place in respect of mining, the minister still has oversight. And therefore, in the best of worlds, I should even have a screen where on a touch I can tell what is happening in Apamprampa or what's happening in everywhere in the country. But the monitoring team is essentially mandated to try and get us to be on top of the situation and be properly have a proper grip of what is happening across the country. Political actors, the resolve is absolute, very absolute, and this is not mere talk, please. In all modesty, the resolve is absolute. The president is absolutely resolved in this matter. My senior colleagues are here, they will bear me out. He said it countless times. This has no regard for political coloration. It doesn't matter your position in any political party. And by that, I mean any political party. The security agencies have gotten their instructions very clear. Even this morning, I had meetings with Forestry Commission and Minerals Commission, and I repeated, if you go into a forest reserve and it's anybody who has an operation there, it doesn't matter his status in society or his political coloration, flush the person out. So you can be rest assured on that one. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll take a second and final batch of questions, but I want to respond specifically to the question of judgment debt. We are convinced that no court will give judgment debts to an illegal miner on a water body. An illegal miner on a water body whose machines have been destroyed. We are fortified in our view that no court will grant such person a judgment debt. We'll take a final batch of questions. If there are no new persons, then I'll go to some of the persons who raised questions earlier, because they have outstanding questions. Abednego, if you have a question, the time is now. He's one of our very profound last-minute questioners. Abednego, then I saw a gentleman in brown. Yes, Abednego from Adom FM, correct?
Yeah.
So I'll take the gentleman in brown, and then I'll go back to Kojajiman and then to GNA to do their follow-ups, and then we'll wrap up. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Honorable. You're from Abednego Asante. We Adom FM. Honorable, previous operations, in your report, we say some of the officials are government deploy on site, could I agree with these illegal miners? So operation Minister Betima assure say money pepe set tax na dem could I agree with yes miners. Also if foreign national sell mobile. Oba no maba say Ghana na omukọ. Uko mukrom no kokodi bonya. Emra no di pepe. Nti omo a ya chi omu anaso operation we. Oba assure say obi am ye be chi no. Emra ni be di pepe ye nya man ko a obefa ne hodi. Thank you.
Thank you. Gentleman in brown. Please identify yourself, sir.
I'm Samuel Apia, Ghana Peace General. The Honorable Minister for Lands and Natural Resources said like some lances has been given to some large and small-scale miners in our forests.
Rights.
Yes.
Yes.
And he said in future, this lances will not be given to them. But I want to know when is that future coming, because still they're still mining, and if they don't take care, our forestation will tend to deforestation. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. So I think you need to clarify the concept of accrued rights from those who are seeking to get new permits. So Kojo, I'll let you wrap up, and then I'll come to GNA to wrap up. Yeah.
So my name is Kujadman, City TV. When we were in Takwa, the University of Mines and Technology said they've come up with a water clearing technology that will work or that will clear the Pra and the Ankobra and the other polluted water. What is the ministry doing about this good news that we are hearing from the UMAT? Thank you.
UMAT says they have some technology that can clean the water bodies. Will you be willing to consider it? GNA, final word.
My question on the excavators being destroyed, I wanted to find out whether, wouldn't it be useful for them to use it for reclamation of the lands rather than destroying? I want the minister
The
to
policy,
clarify.
I think it's been, the policy decision is no. If your machine is found there, it will be destroyed.
Okay,
That's
let
a
me
policy
come to my
decision.
substantive question. Yes, on Minister of Lands on April 22 issued a statement that those who are holding recognizance and prospecting license with or without legal authorization should stop the prospecting on forest reserves. Now he said on May 7th they are going to publish the names of companies that are holding such licenses. I want clarification whether after publication these companies will be allowed to go and continue their work.
Okay, so to reconcile those positions, I'll give you a very, very final word.
It's actually supposed to be a follow-up.
To-
Initial question, no, actually a question that I asked on the approach and as to why it appeared the first attempt to clamp down on the illegal mining government failed. So what's the new approach? I didn't get that response.
Well, I think if you look at I mean, I don't seek to answer for them, but if you look at the two approaches, they are very different. The first approach, you had soldiers and security persons embedded in the forest reserves and in these communities, and you yourselves are reporting that there were reports of some of them, getting in conniving activities and getting corrupted. You have heard a new approach that clearly says that this is a 3-day operation to clean it. Nobody's going to stay there. Everybody's withdrawing after these 3 days. There are going to be regular patrols of armed soldiers, and if you or your equipment are found there, you would have yourself to blame. I think the two approaches are very different, and in between the two, you find the lessons that have been learnt, and the new approach is hoped or expected to deliver results. And also, I think as has been mentioned, the regional security councils and the district security councils have now been put in charge of ensuring that those who have been cleared don't return. And if they require any logistical support, they can always escalate to get some logistical support so to do. So this is a very different approach from the first one. I think the lessons are clear. Yes, Minister, so I'll let you come up.
I think that we should applaud the president for the courage to continue this fight, especially with what happened during the elections. You should applaud him to still have the nerve and the courage to say, no, I'm resolved that I must leave a very good environment for my people. I want to leave clean water bodies for my people. I want to allow aquatic life to return, and I want to allow lands that are good enough to take our cocoa and take our crops. You don't want your lands to be destroyed by mercury. You don't want your lands, your fertilizer, your tomatoes. You don't want your cocoa. You don't want to be banned by others. So we should applaud the president. And if the president had not taken the decision in 2017 to do what he did, I don't think we have been having the Ghana we have today. So lessons have been learned, and that is why this new approach is being taken. It's a 3-day surgical operation. The military says we'll do surgical operations, and after that we'll do follow-ups. So there are two different approaches. It's a surgical operation, and after that they will do follow-ups. And the follow-ups are not static teams that will be staying with anybody for you even to have access to them. You cannot have access to them now. Nobody, no Ghanaian, no foreigner can have access to anybody. They are operating and they are moving in groups, and they are moving. And those who are going to do the follow-ups, you will not even have access to talk to them to be able to influence anybody. So that's all I want to tell you. But for the officials, I mean, the issue of officials concerned with illegality, like I've said, that is exactly the point. I can assure you that those allegations which we always said that for us, if we get any security agency, if we get if we get any security personnel, or even a minister, or anybody that we know and have evidence, the president will prosecute that person. I'm very clear in my mind about that one. Even me as defense minister, if the president has evidence that I am engaged in illegal mining, I'm colluding with illegal miners, or I'm encouraging them, even by what I do, the president will not hesitate. Our entire life as a nation depends on what we are doing now. If you see River Pratt, if anybody were to see River Pratt today, you will for Ghana. Because if few individuals want to make money, if you see River Pratt, where fish cannot more survive, where aquatic life cannot survive in that river, you will for this nation. So I'm clear in my mind that what we are doing, we need the support of everybody. And that's why I think that people who are taking fake videos and trying to incite the public against the soldiers for what they are doing should stop. It doesn't help anybody. There was a consultative meeting. We all came to an agreement that, look, as Ghanaians, we should fight this fight together. We don't want one political party to stand here and say we are against, we are for. We don't want that any longer. Let us all move as a nation and get to where we are getting. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honorable Minister for Lands, if you can wrap up on the question of accrued rights, would you be willing to consider the proposed solution that UMAT has? And then can we reconcile the April 22nd and May 7th comments? Reconcile the comment of April 22nd and May 7th about who can be in the forest and who cannot be.
Okay. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. The questions are very useful. I'm very grateful for them because clarity is important. And I'll try to recast the instructions again. The directive to stop or suspend prospecting, recognizance, and or exploration takes effect today. It takes effect today. The directive, I signed it on 21st of April and said 7 days after publication, all companies, individuals, entities should stop. Now, the directives were published on 23rd. So if you do the counting, the directive takes effect today. So in other words, as from today, you cannot prospect in forest reserve. You cannot explore in forest reserve. You cannot engage in recognizance in forest reserve. The additional measure which I just announced here is really in accordance with the dictates of transparency, which is that the Minerals Commission and the Forestry Commission, who are the repository of the records of mineral activities in a forest reserve, are to publish the list of companies who hold prospecting or recognizance licenses and or who have the application pending. So it's just for transparency purposes. It's not as though the instruction will take effect on 7th May. They need some time to piece it together, which is why I gave them up to 7th May. So that on 7th May, they will publish it to the whole country. So a journalist can follow through and say, Mr. Minister, the company A, which has a prospecting, is still prospecting in this forest reserve. So we can enforce the rules properly. But the question about when they take effect, they take effect today. Accrued rights. And there you have to explain. Generally, you don't enact laws, you don't give directive to take retroactive effect. That is quite unconscionable. Secondly, though there are companies who acquired their, the law doesn't debar mining in forest reserves. Let's understand that. Our laws in Ghana permit mining in particular circumstances for mining to take place in forest reserves, which is why you require the forest entry permit. The environmental protocols are more stringent. You post a bond, an environmental bond, and so on and so forth. There are companies who have had mining licenses, forest entry permits to mine in forest reserves as far back as 1930. Ghana Bauxite Company Limited has been mining in forest reserve as far back as 1930. So in that kind of company, you can't say because you've given an instruction for prospecting to cease, you are going to stop that company. And in any event, the instruction relating to the forest entry permit is prospective. Let me put it that way. It's into the future. So they can't give any more. Those they have given will hold, naturally. Those are accrued rights. They've acquired the rights already. They've gone through the motions. And the other companies, I don't want to mention the names of those companies. So that is the clarification I want to bring to bear. In all of this also, we recognize that as a mining country with expected investment, genuine investment for prospecting and exploration, so there are those who small-scale miners off our environment first, and then we can begin to think of how to reclaim our water bodies.
Brigadier General A.Y. Nsia, Acting Chief of Defense Intelligence, Brigadier General Abdullahi, Director General Joint Operations, Deputy Minister Designate for Land and Natural Resources, the Honorable Ambrose Derry, Minister for the Interior, the Honorable Dominic Nitiwu, Minister for Defense. Our colleague from the media, we want to thank you that you've made time this Friday